The Baba Ghoulie Show is brought to you by OTR Halloween Holidays.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our star tonight is Miss Mary Astor, one of Hollywood's most charming and resourceful actresses, and a lady who is no stranger to the art of keeping audiences in suspense. Ask anyone who saw her in The Maltese Falcon or Across the Pacific. The story called In Fear and Trembling by J. Donald Wilson is tonight's tale of suspense. If you have been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with In Fear and Trembling and Miss Mary Astor's performance, we again hope to keep you in suspense. At the edge of the cliff, overlooking the sea, sits a gray stone mansion, weather-beaten by the storms of several decades. To this mansion, Gilbert Durant brought his bride, Lucia. That was 4 years ago. Gilbert and Lucia were quite happy until a year ago, when Lucia's half-sister Beverly came to live with them. Gradually, something began to happen. Lucia felt that some insidious horror was beginning to gnaw at her happiness. She began to know that Gilbert's ardor was beginning to cool. He became more absorbed in his writing. Then she felt the cold clamminess of the great stone structure creeping about her, clutching at her heart. Anyone who saw her could tell that fear was growing in her mind, a fear of something which she could not or would not explain. One evening, Lucia, having excused herself at dinner, tossed on her bed in a fretful sleep.
No. Don't. Get away from me! Ah!
Mrs. Durant! Mrs. Durant, what's wrong?
Oh, Benton, come in.
Well, what on earth is wrong? Why were you screaming?
Oh, Benton, I must have been dreaming. It was horrible.
You're white as a ghost and shaking like a leaf.
Yes, I know. Oh, Mrs. Benton, I can't stand it. It's driving me mad. That makes the 4th or 5th time I've dreamed the same thing, the same in every detail.
I've never heard you scream before.
No. Oh, that's probably because...
What?
Oh, it always comes a little closer to me. Tonight it almost reached me.
It? What do you mean?
I don't know what it is. It's a figure. A human figure, but I can't tell whether it's a man or a woman. It comes through that door and walks slowly across the room with its arms outstretched, reaching for me.
Are you sure you were dreaming?
Now that I think of it, it isn't like a dream, an ordinary dream. Its reality seems to carry over even after I'm awake.
That's what's made you so ill.
This dream, if it is a dream, means something? Is that what you think? It's a premonition?
Perhaps.
What time is it?
9 o'clock.
Where's Gilbert?
Your husband went horseback riding over an hour ago.
Did he go alone?
Your sister went with him.
Beverly? Why didn't he ask me to go?
Well, you've not been yourself lately. Not been feeling well.
Yes, of course.
Well, if you're feeling better, I'll go back to my room.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I'll be all right. Thank you, Miss Benson. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Beverly. Gilbert.
Lucia lay there for a while, staring wild-eyed at the patch of moonlight on the bedroom door, listening, waiting. Then, as the clock struck 10:30, the door opened, and a figure stepped into the room and moved noiselessly through the moonlight to Lucia's bed. Suddenly, Lucia opened her eyes.
Gilbert, don't!
Lucia, what's wrong with you?
What are you doing in my room?
I just wanted to know how you felt.
How long have you been standing there?
Oh, just a few seconds.
I was dreaming, I guess. When I woke up, you startled me.
Why were you yelling, don't?
I don't know. I haven't the slightest idea.
I talked with Dr. Handy about you today. I told him how run down you were, and he suggested that I get a tonic for you. I'll drop in at the drugstore on my way home tomorrow evening.
A tonic?
Yes.
Well, what is it?
Oh, I don't remember. Something in strychnine.
Strychnine?
Yes, he said it would give you an appetite.
Where have you been, Gil?
Oh, I've been riding. Nice moonlight night. Very pleasant.
Did Beverly enjoy it?
Yes, she's an excellent rider. I've decided to buy that filly from Thompson. Going over there tomorrow afternoon.
Is Beverly going with you?
Yes. She's a good judge of horseflesh. Why?
Nothing. I just asked.
Well. Good night, Lucia. See you at breakfast?
Yes. Good night.
Something and strychnine. Something and strychnine. Lucia jumps from her bed, rushes down to the library, snaps on the light, and steps to the shelf holding the encyclopedia. She runs her fingers down the long line of books, LMNOPR, and then she stops and stares. The S to T is missing. Then she sees it on the desk, the missing volume. She rushes to the desk and stares down at the open page.
Yes, that's it. Strychnine.
I'll tell you what, Beverly. I'll leave the deal entirely up to you.
Up to me? Oh, Gil, that's not fair.
Why not?
Well, suppose she turns out to be a lemon.
I don't think she will, because you're going to have the job of training her.
Oh, you certainly flatter me.
Not in the least. Oh. Good morning, Lucia.
I just realized what time it was. You'll be leaving in a few minutes.
Yes, it's 9 this very minute. Got to step on it. More coffee, Beverly?
No, thanks. How do you feel, Lucia?
Better. Much better.
You better eat something.
No, I can't.
At least some coffee.
Yes, I'll have some coffee.
I've got to run. See you later, Lucia.
Yes, Gil.
And I'll see you this afternoon at 2, Beverly.
Yes, I'll meet you in town at 2. Oh, Gil, don't forget Lucia's medicine.
No, I won't. Goodbye, Lucia.
Are you meeting Gil in town, Beverly?
Yes, he wants me to decide on that filly he's interested in.
Where did you learn so much about horses?
Oh, seems to be natural. Why don't you get interested in horses, Lucia?
Why should I?
What are you interested in?
Well, I am interested in a few things. My husband in particular.
You don't act interested in anything.
Really?
Well, if you'll take my advice, you'll snap out of this coma and get some pep.
Does Gil like women with pep?
No man cares about a woman who sits around and mopes. I think you're a hypochondriac.
Do you?
And you should do something about it.
I intend to. I intend to do something about it.
I'm glad to hear it. Get out and do things. Play games, golf, tennis, swim, and ride. Maybe this medicine will fix you up.
You know all about it, do you? What is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tonic, a builder-upper.
I wish I could believe that.
But at least you can try it. Won't hurt you.
No? I wonder. Oh, come in, Dr. Handy.
Well, Lucia, why did you call me out here? What's wrong?
I just couldn't make it into town.
Oh, it can't be as bad as all that.
Did Gilbert talk to you about me yesterday?
I saw Gil for a few moments at the club during lunch. Said you were run down.
Did you give him a prescription for me?
Oh, never do that until I've examined the patient.
You didn't give him a prescription.
Well, no.
What did you suggest for me?
Oh, I don't know. Mentioned a few tonics he might get for you. Spoke of beef iron and wine and sherry and egg and... Oh, I don't remember what else.
Then you mentioned nothing specifically.
I don't think so.
I see.
Now, what seems to be wrong with you, Lucia?
I don't know exactly, but something has been happening to me that, well, frankly, I'm afraid I'm losing my mind.
We all feel that way at times.
I'm serious. Things happen to me in the night.
What sort of thing?
At first I thought they were just nightmares, but when you have a nightmare, you wake up and the fear is gone. You realize the truth. But this vision that comes to me haunts me through the waking hours as well.
Vision?
Something, I think it's a person, comes through my bedroom door, comes toward my bed with outstretched arms as though it intends to strangle me. Each time it comes a little closer. And my fear is that eventually it will get to me before I wake up.
See. You always dream the same dream?
If it is a dream, yes.
And who is the person?
I don't know.
You don't think it's really a dream?
No. I think it's a premonition.
Have you any basis for such a fear in real life? Is there someone or something that you're afraid of?
Doctor, I'm convinced they're not dreams, that I'm not asleep.
Oh, nonsense.
I'm positive they're not mere dreams.
Well, I think it's all due to your rundown condition. You probably don't sleep as soundly as you should, so you transfer sounds in the night to dreams and nightmares.
That's exactly what I mean. If I'm only half asleep, I may be transferring actual movements and sounds into dreams. In other words, if someone slams a door in the night, I may half hear it and attribute it to a dream.
Yeah. All right.
But then perhaps I'm not dreaming. Don't you see?
I think you'd better come into town and have a thorough physical.
You mean a checkup by a psychiatrist?
Oh, I may have someone help me. It's the usual thing, you know.
Oh, Dr. Henry, I'm so frightened.
No. Everything's going to be all right.
I'm afraid that I'm going to die. That someone is trying to kill me.
Oh, you're not going to die. That's ridiculous.
I'll call you and make an appointment.
That's better. Very well. In the meantime, try not to think about it. Keep your mind on the brighter side.
Yes. I'll try.
All afternoon and on into the evening, that awful gnawing of jealousy and fear occupy every moment. Gil and Beverly. How could they do such a thing? And how far will they go to get you out of the way, Lucia? Will they stop even at murder?
Are you asleep, Lucia?
No, I'm not asleep.
How are you feeling?
I seem to have developed a headache.
Have you eaten anything today?
No, I didn't care for anything.
Well, this will help you. Better take a dose now. I'll measure it for you.
What is it?
Why, it's the tonic.
Did Dr. Hanby prescribe it?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Where's Beverly?
Down in the library.
Did you buy the horse?
Yes, Beverly thought she was a fine animal.
I didn't know Beverly knew so much about horses.
She's a horsewoman after my own heart.
Is she?
Rides like the wind, too.
She had intended to go home tomorrow. Is she staying on?
She's got to. I wouldn't think of her leaving now.
Why not?
Well, for one thing, she's going to train the horse.
And what else?
Why, nothing else. Here, take this. It's a little bitter, but you'll get used to it.
Gil,
Go ahead, it won't hurt you.
I don't want it.
And why not?
It has poison in it.
I suppose it does have a little, yes. But only enough to act as a tonic.
I don't want it. I won't take it.
Are you going to act like a child? Take it and quit arguing.
I won't.
Take it, swallow it down.
I can't take it.
You're impossible, Lucy.
I'm afraid.
You need this medicine, but you're so confoundedly stubborn you'd rather sit around and mope all day. Very well, there it is. You can take it or not. I'm disgusted trying to help you pull out of this. Good night.
No. Wait, Gil. I'll take it.
I don't care whether you do or not.
There. I've taken it. Terribly bitter.
Well, that's more like it. Now take another dose around 11.
Gil, where's Mrs. Benson?
Why, I told her she could have the night off. Thought she might like to spend the evening in town.
You let her off?
Yes, she's been sticking pretty close lately.
Yes, she has. Good night.
Good night, Lucia.
What's wrong, Gil? You look upset.
I am. Lucia didn't want to take it.
No? Why not?
She's afraid of medicine.
What are you going to do?
She finally took a dose of it. But if I know her, she'll never take another drop.
She's got to take it, Gil. You've got to figure out a way to make her take it.
It can't be disguised. It's too bitter.
Try something else.
I'll try and coax her into it again.
Isn't there something that tastes more pleasant, or something you could put in milk or orange juice?
I don't know. But I'll find something.
Of course you will. You've got to.
She's... Wait a minute. There's someone listening outside the door.
Oh, sir.
Well, Benson, what are you doing standing here in the dark?
Why, I was just going upstairs to see if Mrs. Durant wanted anything before I went out.
I see. By the way, I'm staying home for a couple of days, and I thought that since you've been staying so close to the job, you'd welcome a few days' leave.
Leave? Why, yes. But Mrs. Durant may prefer that I stay.
I think you'd better take a little rest yourself. You needn't come back till Friday.
But I don't need a rest.
You come back Friday.
Yes. Very well, sir.
But that night, for once, the good Mrs. Benson disobeys orders. A few minutes before 12, she returns to the mansion. No lights are burning. So she makes her way quietly through the back entrance, slips up the stairs, and taps lightly on Lucia's bedroom door.
Mrs. Durant? Mrs. Durant?
Then she turns the knob, opens the door, and snaps on the light.
Mrs. Durant, are you here?
Then Benson steps quickly toward the bed. The bed is empty, but a horrible sight meets her eyes.
Blood! Blood all over the bed. Oh. Get me the police department.
All right, Mrs. Benson. Now, just calm down and tell us what happened this evening.
Well, earlier in the evening, Mr. Durant told me that I could have the night off since I'd been staying close to Mrs. Durant for some time. And then later he said he decided to let me off until Friday. I didn't want to go, but he insisted.
Was there anyone else in the house?
Yes, Mrs. Durant's half-sister, Beverly.
Did you leave the house?
Yes, but I sneaked up the back stairs and told Mrs. Durant I'd be back about midnight.
If you had till Friday, why did you come back at midnight?
Because we were both frightened.
Of what?
Well, Mrs. Durant had been having premonitions that someone was trying to kill her.
Who was trying to kill her?
She didn't know, but she was terribly frightened.
Is that all?
No. Her husband tried to get her to take some medicine he had brought home. She refused, and he got angry.
How do you know he was angry?
I heard him talking about it to Beverly. They were in the library. And he told Beverly that Lucia was stubborn. Beverly said that he'd have to think of some other way.
Did Mrs. Durant suspect her husband and Beverly of trying to do away with her?
Yes. Yes, she did. She was convinced that Mr. Durant and Beverly were in love and wanted her out of the way.
I see. Well, so you came back tonight because you anticipated that something was going to happen.
Yes. House was dark, so I came up the back stairs, knocked on her door. When I got no answer, I came in, turned on the lights, saw she was gone, and then I saw the bed all covered with blood. She wouldn't take the poison, so they did it another way. That's what they planned in the library.
Where are they now? Any idea?
Well, they didn't expect me back tonight, so they're probably gone to dispose of the body, intending to come back here and clean the place up later.
I see. Anybody else know about Mrs. Durant's fears?
Yes, she talked to Dr. Hanby. I called him right after phoning the police and told him about it. He knows.
Dr. Hanby, Captain Blake, what in the world is the meaning of this?
From all indications, Mrs. Durant has been murdered and the body disposed of. Doctor, I understand Mrs. Durant told you that she was afraid that something was going to happen to her, that she was going to die.
Who told you that?
Mrs. Benson here.
I see. Well, she did call me in this morning. She'd been having strange dreams. Premonitions, she called them. I called them hallucinations.
Who do you think it was?
Well, she couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman, but someone was always approaching her bed with outstretched arms, trying to choke her.
Do you think it was more than a dream?
She was a sort of hypochondriac. I asked her to come into town where I could give her a thorough examination. I didn't take her story too seriously, but this certainly puts a different slant on the entire picture.
Yes, we haven't found the body, but I have men out looking now. We'll find it.
Here's Mr. Durant and his sister-in-law. They found them about half-mile down the beach.
Oh, how are you, Durant?
What in the world goes on here? What's wrong, Doctor?
Take a look at that bed.
Lord. What happened? Lucia. Where is she?
We thought you might enlighten us on that point.
What do you mean? Where is she? Is Lucia dead?
Oh, Gil, what?
What happened?
We think your wife has been murdered.
Murdered? What are you doing here, Mrs. Benson? I thought you were gone till Friday.
Why did you tell her to go until Friday?
Why, I thought she needed a rest. She'd been having long hours. Where is Lucia?
Where have you and your sister-in-law been?
Why, I slipped upstairs and saw Lucia was asleep, so we decided to take a little ride down the beach. It was still early.
Mm-hmm. Didn't take anything with you?
Certainly not.
What do you mean by that? What would we take?
I don't know. I just asked. Did you two try to get Lucia to take some medicine?
No.
Wait a minute, Beverly. That won't do any good. Yes, we did. Lucia was run down and needed a tonic. But she refused to take medicine.
Why did she refuse?
I don't know.
Maybe she was afraid of being poisoned.
Poisoned? Why should I want to poison her? Lucia was my wife.
How long has your sister-in-law Beverly been here with you?
Well, I don't know. Quite some time.
Just a minute. Are you inferring that Gil and I...
I'm not inferring anything. I merely asked you a question.
Oh, Gil, tell him that...
Just a moment, Beverly. Mrs. Benson, what have you been saying? What did you tell them?
I told them the truth.
You think I planned to kill Lucia? Is that it?
Yes, you and this woman.
You're out of your mind.
You tried to get her to take some medicine. She knew you were in love with her sister and that you were trying to poison her.
And how did she come to that conclusion?
She had premonition.
That means nothing.
And besides, I heard you talking, you and Beverly, planning the whole thing.
What?
She's lying.
I heard you. And when you realized Lucia wouldn't take the medicine, Beverly said you'd have to think of some other way.
Some other way to what?
To get rid of her. To kill her.
There must be some... Dr. Hanby, you know better than this. Do you think I had a reason back of wanting to know about various medicines?
Well, no, I didn't. Not at the time, but now...
Now what?
Well, sorry to say, it all adds up to something suspicious. Seems more than just coincidental.
Do you think I killed Lucia?
Look about you. Look at the room. What else am I to think?
What was the tonic you tried to give your wife?
It had strychnine in it.
That right, Durant?
Oh, yes. It was one of the things Dr. Hanby mentioned. It was iron, quinine, and strychnine.
Did you mention that, Doctor?
Well, suppose I did. It's a commonly known tonic.
Did you add anything else to it, Durant?
Certainly not.
How about it, Sergeant? What's the report?
The bottle contained iron, quinine, and strychnine, and a heavy content of arsenic.
Arsenic? But that isn't possible. I put nothing in it. Where would I get arsenic?
It was in there just the same.
Good heavens. Doctor, this isn't true. You know it isn't.
I hate to say it, Gil, but the evidence looks bad for you.
Benson knows what this is all about. She's lying. She knows Gil wouldn't do such a thing. She's back of it all.
Why?
I don't know. But believe me, I'll find out if I have...
That'll do. Under the circumstances, I think you'd all better come down to headquarters so we can keep you separated. Come on. And no more talking.
After 48 hours, hours of relentless grilling, endless questioning, Gil and Beverly are released on a writ of habeas corpus. Weeks go by, and Lucia's body has not been discovered, so the district attorney makes a public announcement that no murder charges can be preferred against them due to lack of corpus delicti, the failure to produce the body, Lucia's body. Then one evening, Beverly and Gil talk in the library.
Beverly, I want you to know how wonderful I think you've been. You stuck right beside me, never lost your nerve, and, well, you're one girl in a million.
Oh, thanks, Gil, but it isn't over yet. They won't stop their search for Lucia's body, and if they find it, we haven't a chance.
I know, but what can we do about it?
Well, why couldn't we leave the country?
Together?
Not necessarily. They'd be sure to follow us. But we could go separately in different ways, and...
And meet someplace later on? Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's what I mean.
It seems a bit mad. It would be equal to an out-and-out confession.
Oh, but Gil, if they find Lucia's body, we haven't a chance. It's too strong against us.
We could never come back, Beverly.
What of it? I don't want to die, Gil.
And I don't want anything to happen to you.
Beverly, I don't know what to say.
I'm frightened, Gil. I can't stay here with such horrible fear hanging over me. I'll go mad. If you don't go, then I will. I'll leave tonight.
Please, Beverly, I need you more than ever now. Please don't go.
Don't worry, Gilbert. She won't leave you.
Lucia.
Good heavens, Lucia.
I won't let her leave you. I'll see that you both go together and stay together for a long, long time.
Lucia, what?
Lucia.
We thought you were dead.
Disappointed, aren't you?
Where have you been?
What are you going to do with that gun?
You thought I was dead. Well, I'm not. I'm live enough to pull this trigger. I've been hiding for weeks, and I've been behind those curtains for the last 20 minutes. I heard every word. Now I know you're in love with each other. Now I know you wanted to do away with me.
In love? Beverly and I?
From the day she came here, she took you away from me.
I did not.
We never thought of such a thing. Never.
Never entered our mind.
Why lie about it?
You've let your imagination run away with you, Lucia. You're insane.
You think so? Well, if I am, it's your fault. Yours and Beverly's. You've driven me insane, both of you. I had a plan to get even with you, to make you pay for what you've done, but it failed.
What plan?
You see, I didn't know about the law of corpus delicti, but I do now. And this time there will be a body. 2 bodies. Yours and Beverly's.
You're a suspicious-minded devil, Lucia.
I planned to trap you on a murder charge, my murder, but it's going to be your murder now.
You were convinced that Beverly and I were in love?
Of course. I never needed a dream nor a premonition. I cut myself and smeared blood on the bed and disappeared. When I found they couldn't touch you without the corpus delicti, I came back to kill you.
Lucia, you fool, you vicious-minded fool. I'm going to tell you something. And go ahead and shoot me if you will. Lucia, not until now, this very moment, has the thought of loving Beverly ever occurred to me.
You never loved Beverly?
No. But I can tell you this, Lucia. Now that I've seen you as you really are, I could never love you again, never.
Gil.
Wait, Beverly.
But I was sure. I was convinced that you and Beverly.
You were sure only because your warped, jealous mind convinced you that there was something between us.
You mean
You certainly made a sorry mess of your life, Lucia.
Then all I've done is killed your love. Oh, Gil.
Yes, Lucia. And you've no one to blame. No one but your own miserable self. Lucia, don't, Lucia!
Oh, Gil. Gil!
Yes, Beverly. But it's probably the best thing for her. And for us.
And so closes In Fear and Trembling, starring Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's Mary Astor, tonight's tale of suspense. The broadcast originated in Columbia Square in Hollywood. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when another of the screen's lovelier leading ladies, Geraldine Fitzgerald, will star in the uneasy drama called Will You Walk Into My Parlor? William Spear, the producer, Ted Bliss, the director, Bud Gluskin, the musical director, Lucian Morowick, the composer, and J. Donald Wilson, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's intermission time at the Baba Ghoulie Show. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for some hot popcorn? How's about your favorite soft drinks, which are sparkling cold? And there's all kinds of candy to tempt you. It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. Hope you're enjoying today's radio program. When it's done, be sure to check out our channel over at Watchwaddle. Enjoy some tunes with a nice cold soda.
Dictating the wrap-up on the Butcher Benton package. I'm Lieutenant Dick Chasen. This hadn't been a routine case, and to find the answer, I've had to put a lot of little pieces together. It began on the day most cases can be called closed. It was the day before the butcher was to be executed. He was visited by his attorney, Paul Lowe, in the death house. It was at this first meeting the Butcher Benton case took its first switch.
Well, that's it, Butcher. The evidence against you was so strong, the governor turned down your appeal.
You're a rotten liar, Lowe. You started railroading me from the beginning of the trial. And now you're still trying to throw me curves.
Look, I don't blame you for being edgy, but get this straight. I didn't double-cross you. I never worked harder for a client.
You mean you never worked harder for a client to get him sentenced?
You're a fool, Butcher. If you hadn't tried to double-cross Squeamy Ellis and Joe Marcelli, they wouldn't have turned state's evidence against you. But you had to get greedy. You wanted to keep the whole $600,000 for yourself. Well, the boys got sore, and I don't blame them.
It was all your idea. You planned the whole job. You hired us. When you found out I'd staged the money, you decided it was time for me to die. You got those two crumbs to turn state's evidence on me. You stinking rotten mouthpiece.
We both know that isn't true, Butcher. Now, look, what's the sense in not giving me the money? It's not going to do you any good.
Well, I'll have the satisfaction of knowing that none of you three crumbs are going to spend it.
What about Eva? Don't you owe her something? You tell me where the money is, I'll see that she gets your share.
I've got a different idea. I'm going to kill you and Squeamy and Joe. Then I'll take care of Eva myself.
You thick-headed ape, you're going to die tomorrow.
Remember what I said. I'm going to get you, all three of you.
Even for you, Butcher, that'd be quite a trick. So long, dead man.
Remember what I said. I'm gonna kill you. All three of you.
Back in Los Angeles, two men sat in a bar room listening to a newscaster tell his headline story. He played up big the butcher's threat to kill Paul Lowe, Squeamy Ellis, and Joe Marcelli for their having turned state's evidence against him. Squeamy Ellis didn't seem happy over the butcher's threat. Neither did Joe Marcelli. But they had figured, once a dead man, always a dead man. But this was one time everyone was in for a surprise, including the entire police department.
You seen the headlines, Captain?
Teletype just came in from San Francisco. Butcher's execution is set for 5 o'clock this afternoon. And like the newspapers say, he still refuses to talk about that stolen money.
Well, I still have hopes of coming up with something.
That's what I dropped by for, Dick. With Butcher's execution, the department's marking it case closed. That means you'll be reassigned.
I've spent a whole year trying to break this case. As far as I'm concerned, Butcher's death is just the beginning. Of course, I can't prove it, but I think that Paul Lowe was the top man. And even though I have to keep working on it while off duty, I'm going to get Lowe, Squeamy Ellis, and Joe Marcelli.
Okay, Lieutenant. Officially, I've taken you off of the case. Unofficially, I wish you luck. Do me a favor. Keep me posted.
Will do. Thanks, John.
I headed for Eva Martin. She worked in a local burlesque house. I'm a cop, and my job is to ask questions and get answers. So I decided I might as well start again with her.
Come in. Oh. What do you want?
I'd like to talk to you.
Talk? You're a cop, aren't you?
That's a good question. I can't even find a 3-ton armored car, let alone the $600,000, and I've been on the case a year.
I've told you, and I've told you, and I've told you. I don't know anything about the money. I never did.
Benton's gonna be dead in a little while. I thought it might make a difference.
I never knew anything about the money. Call me dumb. I didn't even know Charles was in the rackets until the trial.
I'll take it easy, kid.
You're on, Eva.
Honey, here's your wrap.
A few moments ago, Butcher Benton, without revealing the whereabouts of the $600,000 stolen in the armored car holdup, paid for his crimes against society in the gas chamber at San Quentin. Now for a look at the international scene. Today...
Come on, baby. Don't waste tears on Benton.
I feel so badly about Charles. If I'd known, maybe I could have done something.
How about a drink? We could both use one.
An artist can't drink while she's working, Paul.
Boy, see. What's that? Well, now what's the matter?
It's a message from Charles. He told me to open it if he died.
Finale, Eva.
All right.
How about a steak after the show?
No, thanks. Not tonight, Paul.
I didn't find out until much later, but Paul Lowe, in opening the letter the butcher had given Eva, found a map outlining a section of the city sewer system, and clearly identified was the spot where the butcher had hidden the stolen payroll. He replaced it with a $50 bill. I guess he figured $50 to gain $600,000 was not a bad day's work. And a few hundred miles away in San Francisco, the case took another switch, which turned the next 72 hours into one long, hideous nightmare. Dr. Bradshaw, a distinguished biochemist, was making preparations for a final experiment which he hoped would lead the way to a cure for cancer. He'd been successful with laboratory animals. The last step called for a human body. And Dr. Bradshaw's assistant quickly made a deal with a local mortuary and returned to the laboratory with the dead body of Butcher Benton.
You made good time.
Well, I didn't waste any.
Any trouble?
No, I just handed the money over and moved the body into your station wagon. That was that.
Good. Get a syringe. He's in good shape.
Well, I hope so.
We'll get other blood samples later. We'll run this one through fast.
Right.
Now wheel him into the machine and then raise him.
Right.
Ready?
You mean you're going to give him 287,000 volts?
Yes, yes. I'll get the fluoroscope set. We'll check with that before we start dissecting. Turn off the lights. There you are, old boy. If you respond properly and my theory is sound, you'll be more famous dead than alive. Throw the switch.
Wait, I thought I saw a pulsation of the heart.
You're right.
Dr. Bradshaw is beginning to breathe. You've brought this man back to life.
No. The heart muscle has simply responded to a terrific electrical shock, that's all. Yes, but it does prove that the cells still function.
Dr. Bradshaw, he is alive.
A shock reaction, it can't last.
His cells are multiplying now, if your theory is right.
We could keep that reaction going longer. But it's worth a try. Get the body out. Get some adrenaline from the supply room. Some amyl nitrite, too. Hurry, hurry! Mustn't move. Your heart can't stand the strain. Now, you must lie still. Please, please. Easy now. Easy. Easy. You must lie. Easy. Please.
Dr. Bradshaw's experiment had given life back to the butcher. He tried to talk, but the electrical voltage had burned out his vocal cords. Yet it hadn't destroyed his brain. He knew who he was. He knew who he hated. As he stumbled about the room, I think he thought only about one: kill Lowe, Squeamy, and Joe Marcelli. The tremendous electrical voltage that Dr. Bradshaw had given the butcher had increased his cellular structure to the point where he was no longer a man. Dr. Bradshaw's experiment had created a vicious, brutal animal with an almost inconceivable amount of strength. Dr. Bradshaw must have believed the butcher's regained life would last for only a few minutes. Therefore, instead of calling for help, the doctor decided to handle his creation alone.
Now, easy, Benton. Just relax. I'm a doctor. I want to try to help you. Do you understand me? You're in my laboratory. The execution was carried out and you were declared dead. I tried an experiment on you and brought you back to life, although I didn't intend that. Now, you've had a great shot. Now come and sit down. Now, be quiet. Now, come and sit down. Take it easy. That's the boy. Careful. His reactions are violent.
How do you explain this?
Each cell must have multiplied 100 times, perhaps thousands. His strength is unbelievable. No, it's too late for the amyl nitrite. I want to get some blood samples, make some tests on him, find out what's happened. Get me a syringe.
The needle penetrate the skin.
The tissue must be nearly a solid mass of cells.
How are we going to get the blood sample?
Surgically, perhaps. Now, easy, Benton. Take it easy. You can't leave here now. I'm responsible for your being alive.
Towards the end of this case, Captain Lauder and I found out the doctor and his assistant had been murdered. But I'm getting ahead of my story. The butcher didn't know how he had been brought back from the dead, and he didn't care. All he knew, he was alive. Then this monster-made man started thinking about Los Angeles. On that very night back in Los Angeles, I decided to stop playing detective for a little while. I went to the burlesque house to ask Eva to have dinner with me. After all, the butcher was dead, and if I got lucky, sooner or later, I figured Paul Lowe would lead me to the stolen payroll. In a way, that possibility made me even feel better.
It's not fair to watch the show from backstage.
Next time, I'll pay admission.
I take it by that remark you like my routine.
Yeah, you're pretty good. What I can't figure out, though, is why you stay in a place like this. It shouldn't be hard for someone like you to get a job in a class spot.
If you weren't a detective, I'd be willing to bet with a line like that your next remark would be, how about dinner?
Well, not exactly dinner, but a hamburger might be a good idea.
If you're asking in an official capacity, I can't say no.
I'm off duty.
For the past 6 months, all I've ever called you is Lieutenant Chasen. Do you have a first name?
Uh-huh. Dick.
Give me 10 minutes for a quick change, because you just made yourself a date, Lieutenant. I mean, Dick. You know something, Dick? I haven't had hamburger in the front seat of an automobile with a guy in a lot of years.
Well, from now on, we'll do it more often.
It's funny. I always figured a policeman wasn't really a human being. I mean, unless he was arresting someone or trying to solve a case, he was unhappy.
Shows you how wrong you are. In fact, everyone on the force gets fed up occasionally with the job they do. Maybe we're more human than anyone else. We see so much trouble, we get to hate the word. But as long as the world's filled with people, there'll have to be men who enforce the laws.
What made you join the department?
Now who's making with the questions?
No, honest, I'd like to know.
Well, it's really a very short story. When I got out of the Air Corps, I knocked around for a while. Well, I went to work for an oil company. One day, I went back to college on the GI Bill. Just before graduation, I noticed all about the police department exams. Seemed a pretty good thing to do with your life, so I took the exams, passed, then went on from there.
If I ask one more question, will you give me a straight answer?
Try me.
Am I still part of the Charles Benton investigation? I mean, right now.
I don't think so. As far as the department's concerned, when Benton was executed, the case was marked closed. But inside of me, that's not good enough.
I don't follow you.
Well, the $600,000 is still missing. And a fast-talking underworld lawyer like Paul Lowe is walking around a free man. Someday, no matter how long it takes, I'll get him and the money. Until I do, the Benton case for me is not closed.
I give you my word, Dick. Charles Benton never told me anything about the money.
Oh, I've been sure of that for a long time. But how did you ever get mixed up with anyone like the butcher?
As trouble ever started, it just happened. I had a roommate who used to date Benton all the time. One day she packed and left for Chicago. Benton carried a torch for her, and he used my shoulder to cry on. First thing I knew, we were having dinner together, and a few weeks later, I was labeled by the police as this #1 suspect and Benton's girl, but it was never like that. I made only one mistake. I felt sorry for him.
You mean, until he was arrested for the robbery and the killing, you had no idea how he earned a living?
I know this is going to sound crazy, but I only went out with Benton a couple of times, and all we ever talked about was Madge, my old roommate. The last time I saw him, he tried to get too friendly, and that's when I told him he had the wrong girl. But like I said, I'd already made my mistake.
What about the burlesque house? How do you two fit together?
You sound like a lot of other people. I left a small town a couple of years ago because I won a beauty contest, and the first prize was a screen test.
After which, nothing happened?
That's right. Only, it was pretty rough. And then one day I read an ad about girls wanted for a burlesque show. I auditioned and I got the job. You know something? It's like any other job. If you're looking for trouble, you can find it even in a schoolroom.
Well, when the screen test didn't work out, though, why didn't you go on home?
Well, first you have to have a home to go back to. My folks are dead, so Los Angeles was as good as any place else. I don't know about you, but I do 8 shows a day, and at this hour I'm bushed.
I know what you mean. Mind if I drive you home?
No. And I'll tell you something else. I haven't minded anything about tonight. Not even the hamburger.
I kept playing tag with Lowe. He made 4 telephone calls. 3 of them didn't interest me, but one did. The one to Joe Marcelli. I watched Joe head for his meeting with Lowe, and for some unknown reason, I began to get the feeling that this case was finally about to explode in my favor.
You see what I mean? Well, look at that, will you? I seen him stagger on 2 legs, but he's doing it on 4.
Shut up, you flea bag.
Well, look who's calling names. At least I ain't a squealer, a stoolie.
I warned you before. All right, Harry, that's enough. I'll take care of him. I want to talk to him.
Okay, Mr. Lowe. But any future business you've got with this psycho, take care of it upstairs in your office. If you keep showing around here, sooner or later he's going to get slugged, cripple or no cripple.
All right, shut up, Joe. Sit down.
I need a shot, bad.
You'll get one after I talk to you. You sober enough to understand?
Yeah, I run out of dough.
No wonder. Look at you. You used to be the best torch man in town. Now I don't think you could crack a safe if you knew the combination.
No jobs. Nobody wants me since I turned stakes on Benton. That's your doing. You taught me.
All right, quit crying. I got a job for you. If you can stay off that stuff long enough.
You know I can if I got a job. How much? What is it?
There's $2 grand in it for you.
Where?
Right near where he pulled the job. Interested?
$2 grand ain't much out of 600,000.
There'll be other expenses. Besides, that money's plenty of. Now, you want it or do I get another boy?
I'll do it. How soon do you want me to go to work?
Set it up for tomorrow night. Call me before noon. I'm going to the races. 1. And that's all. The job's over.
The butcher was walking slowly toward Los Angeles. He'd traveled through wooded hills to prevent being seen by anyone. Finally, he came to a quiet road. He stopped to get his bearings. And then he saw her, and he saw something else, an automobile. For the butcher, that rang a bell. With a car, he knew by the next afternoon he'd be in Los Angeles in plenty of time to catch up with the 3 men who had double-crossed him.
Well, see, you're a real gentleman to be helping strangers in distress. I hope you don't mind me using the babe here as bait. Quite a dish, isn't she? But that's what she gets paid for. Bait, that is. Yes, sir. She's a real shaker artist of my outfit. Carnival man myself. Just call me Connie. Yeah. Well, friend, we're in a little bit of difficulty here. Got a flat tire, brand new car, no tools in the back. Why, some of these dealers make my carnival grifters look like babes in the woods. Ghoulie. Say, who you with, friend? Let it down. Let it down. No matter who you with, friend, believe me, I can do better for both of us. I'll make a fortune for the both of us. Oh!
An hour later, the San Francisco Police Department sent out an APB. Squads were sent to various parts of the countryside. Roadblocks were thrown up to catch the cold-blooded killer the hysterical girl had described. Each squad kept reporting back to Central Headquarters, and each of their stories was the same. So far, none of them had spotted the car the killer was driving. Orders were given to shoot to kill, because from the girls' further accounts, they realized they were dealing with a maniac.
I trust that this information will answer all of your questions. If I can be of any further service, let me know. Sincerely, J.I. Louder, Captain Police, L.A.
Another all points from CHP, Captain.
These reports sound like they come from a bunch of loonies.
You sure do. There it is.
Sergeant.
Yeah.
I want Lieutenant Chasen to look these over as soon as he comes in.
All right, Captain.
The next morning, I read the stories of the brutal murder of the two police officers. I also read the witness's statement about the bullets having no effect upon the killer. I felt sorry for the witness, and I thought about how easily a person's mind can become confused when suddenly they receive a brutal shock. I didn't believe a man existed who could not be stopped by a slug from a .45.
Good morning, Captain.
You and the rest of the force are going on 24-hour duty. Seen the headlines?
You mean this guy that's running amok up north?
Yeah, the latest report, he's killed 2 police officers. Made a getaway in a green coupe heading south. I've got a hunch this killer's gonna be our baby. He could be in town right now.
Yeah.
You better get started, Lieutenant.
Okay.
Any new leads on that hold-up money?
I think the girl can probably be counted out. If any of the others are wise, they're keeping mighty quiet.
Let it ride for now. The whole force is gonna be on the spot until we catch this killer. Newspapers will have a field day.
We were wrong about 2 things. The killer was already in our city, and we didn't know he was Butcher Benton. He headed straight for Eva Martin. He went to her dressing room to get back the map he had left in the envelope with her. He wanted first to check his money, then catch up with Lowe and the others.
can't be. But you do look like him. Only different somehow. It is you. Why didn't somebody tell me? What's happened, Charles? Those look like bullet holes. Are they? There isn't even a mark. I opened it like you told me, and I found the $50. I didn't know why you left him. Oh, Paul didn't know why he was here. Don't think crazy.
The name of Paul triggered his hate. He left her dressing room and started for Squeamy Ellis and Joe Marcelli's place. Because he knew, with them out of the way, Paul Lowe couldn't open the strong box where the money was hidden. He thought of Squeamy and Joe first. He was saving Paul Lowe for last.
Eva, can I borrow your eyebrow pencil? Operator, get me police headquarters. Lieutenant Chasen, please. When do you expect him? Well, tell him Charles Benton is alive, and even bullets can't stop him. I'm not crazy. Just say a friend of Charles. He'll know.
After leaving a message for me, Eva telephoned Squeamy Ellis. She tried to tell him the butcher was alive and on his way over to kill him. Squeamy didn't believe her, and in a way you couldn't blame him. Who in their right mind would believe a man had returned from the dead? What Squeamy actually believed was that the butcher, before his execution, had hired a killer to carry out his threat.
You sick? What? You don't look so good to me.
10 minutes, Eva.
All right. Say, Eva, I could take over the matinee trick for you. What? It's easy. Look, Eva, I can do it. Scabba-doo-doo-doo. Oh, Francine, I just thought of something. Yeah?
Eva agreed to let Francine do the show. She hoped she'd be able to interrupt the butcher before he arrived at Squeamy's hotel. Or, failing that, at least be able to warn him to stay out of sight. He
You wanted me, Captain?
Yeah, I just had a rundown on those fingerprints of the stolen car up north. We got nothing on the driver who was killed or the woman with him. Take a good look at these.
There's something funny about these.
Yeah. The boys in the lab can't figure it out either. Those are the killers. They were found on the steering wheel. Looked like they'd been stamped in with a steel die.
They sure do.
These are Butcher Benton's.
What? Well, they look the same to me. How do the lab boys explain that?
They don't. Their best guess is a twin brother. An identical twin could have the same pattern of whorls with only slight variations. Ever hear of the butcher having a twin brother?
No.
Even if he did, it wouldn't explain these freak prints.
You didn't pick up your message, Lieutenant. Some wacky dame calls you. And she says Charles Benton is alive, and bullets won't stop him.
If we buy the twin theory...
Who was she? Where'd she see him?
Well, she wouldn't leave her name. Sounded kind of hysterical to me. Said she was a friend of the butcher's.
Eva Martin.
Get over at the Follies and see what that girl knows.
Yeah.
Some guys have all the luck. I never drew an assignment to the Follies.
Meanwhile, the butcher headed for Squeamy's hotel. He didn't seem to be in any particular hurry. Actually, he seemed like any normal person, on his way to work or on his way home. He rode up Angel's Flight, arrived at the top, scanned the hotel building, and then noticed the only exit from Squeamy's apartment, a fire escape. Butcher was figuring his next step. And as he looked at the dead cop, he thought about Paul Lowe, the next man on his list.
Seen Joe Marcelli?
Not since last night when I told him I didn't want him around here no more.
Give me a shot. Look, I need help. Just found out that Benton's hired a killer to get me. He's after Joe, too.
Well, then drink up and get out. I don't want no trouble around my place.
You're a real pal.
Drink up and get out, I said.
Operator, get me the police! Police! Yes!
What's happened?
A guy named Squeamy got thrown from the 5th floor. He's deader than a mackerel. Customer of mine.
You mean Squeamy Ellis?
Yeah, that's it.
Just Squeamy. No one else was killed.
Ain't one enough?
I tell you, the bullets never even phased him. He must have been wearing a bulletproof vest.
God help us when the papers get a hold of this. Keep an officer on duty here till you hear from me. We'll get a stakeout on Joe Marcelli.
I'd like to talk to Joe. Lauder, I'm going to call San Quentin. Suppose Benton is alive.
Every available man's been put on the case now. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Anything new?
Report on Dr. Bradshaw, owner of the station wagon. The San Francisco police located his laboratory in the basement of an electrical power receiving station.
Bradshaw, what's he know?
He's dead. And another man, too, his assistant. The lab is a shambles. But now we're getting some action from San Francisco. Benton's body never arrived at the mortuary where it was supposed to go. An attendant there finally broke down, admitted he picked up some quick cash by handing the body over to a man he was unable to identify. The man was driving a station wagon.
Blast it, man. The chief's on my neck, and the commissioners are on his, and the mayor's on theirs. Now, am I supposed to tell them that our killer is a dead man?
They found a notebook in Bradshaw's lab. It ties his experiments in with a Professor Dwiggins at Caltech. I hope to hear from Dwiggins soon.
Captain, report from the valley on a hysterical woman. Reports the presence of the killer. There's the location.
Let's go.
You and your boyfriend had a little fight, and he got out of the car to take a walk. You noticed that he walked down toward the sump area in the direction where you'd seen those lights a short while before.
What happened then, miss? Please try to tell us.
Well, I just sat there a few minutes, I guess. I was pretty mad. Then there was a loud crash, like heavy metal, sort of, from down here. I got out of the car to get a better look. I heard Jimmy cry out something. I couldn't make out the words. Then down here, in a patch of light, was Jimmy. And coming toward him was this man. Big man. Lifted Jimmy up over his head like he didn't weigh a thing. Jimmy screamed. Just once, before he broke Jimmy's back. I heard it snap, not far away. Then I started running till I found this house. They let me use the phone.
Thank you, mate. We'll see that you get home all right now.
O'Malley, see that the young lady gets home all right.
Paul Lowe, while driving to his office, heard a radio commentator report the murder of Joe Marcelli. And what shocked him most was when the broadcast identified the killer as possibly being the butcher. Lowe headed straight for Eva Martin at the Burlesque Theater.
Oh, you gave me a start, Mr. Lowe.
What are you doing here? Where's Eva?
Oh, I'm taking her place. I'm going to wear her costumes. What's it to you?
I asked you, where's Eva?
Hey, don't get physical. Well, watch your tone of voice, Buster. I told you. Little Eva isn't here.
I could see that for myself. Where is she?
She's at police headquarters. That's where she is.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Captain Lauder's still with the mayor. The killer dropped out of sight. He was last seen in the Hollywood area. Yes, sir. We know he's dangerous. Every angle's being covered. Yes, sir. I'll tell him.
Here, see how these fit.
Low heels.
I'm sorry. It's the best our wardrobe department can afford. Any idea how soon the captain will be back?
Now, look, I'm going to see the captain. I'll have to wait here all night.
Paul. Charles killed Squeamy and Joe.
Joe, too? Benton?
He's alive. I saw him, but nobody will believe me.
I'm checking it. My guess is whoever killed them is on the trail of the money, Lowe. Now, maybe you better start talking if you know anything about it.
I don't know anything.
Did the butcher have a brother?
No, no brother.
It was Charles. I saw the tattoo on his arm.
Look, I demand police protection.
Where's the money, Lowe?
You heard me. I demand protection. I know my rights.
We put stakeouts on your office and home.
Well, that's not enough.
It's enough as far as we're concerned.
Now you gonna book me, Sergeant?
Then throw away the key.
Thank you.
Come up with anything yet, Dick?
Oh, we've checked every hotel, motel, and rooming house in town. We've run a cross-check on every hangout Butcher ever used. Net results, blank.
This is incredible. We not only discover a dead man turned killer, but it's beginning to look like he plays ghost, too. He's somewhere in this city, and if we have to take it apart brick by brick, we've got to get him.
I may be way off, but I think Paul Lowe could tell us a lot.
Maybe, but it's a cinch he's not going to.
Well, suppose he had no alternative.
You better grab some coffee. Your mind's beginning to play tricks on you.
No, now, wait a minute. When Lowe came to us for police protection, it was because he was scared stiff the Butcher would add him to the list of Squeamy Ellis and Joe Marcelli.
Go on.
It figures, too. When he slugged the sergeant, he knew we'd book him right away. Oh, this Lowe's a pretty cute character. But we can play the same game.
You mean we'll threaten to release him?
Well, not exactly. You tell him you realize that he was excited, that throwing the punch was accidental. Tell him we're not going to make a charge, that he's completely released.
Lieutenant, you know we can't do that. Lowell made his first mistake when he hit the sergeant, and that'll get him a year. As far as the department's concerned, at least it's a small victory.
If my hunch is right, Lowe won't want to be on the streets with the Butcher looking for him. And he may talk, and talk a lot. Enough maybe for us to get rid of him permanently. Even lead us to the Butcher.
If he's frightened enough, that might work. But if it doesn't... No, Dick, I'm not going to release him. I want him out of my way so bad I can taste it, but not bad enough to be responsible for getting him killed.
The good thing about that, Captain, is the fact we know it, but Lowe doesn't.
Let's give it a try.
All right, Lowe. Come on out.
I think you'll find everything in there. You're free to go, Mr. Lowell.
Wait a minute. Who do you think you're kidding? You arrested me for assaulting an officer. Court, I'll plead guilty. With luck, I might get off with 6 months.
For a lawyer, you're forgetting a very important point. If no charge is made, there's no trial. It was a tough day for everyone. We figured your nerves were on edge, and when you threw the punch, you didn't know what you were doing. I've squared everything with the sergeant. It's all over, all forgotten.
Yeah? Why'd you bring a stenographer?
Simply because I wanted a record of our conversation at the time of your release. Okay, Lowell, let's go.
Oh, wait a minute. Once out on those streets and I'm a dead man. You let me go, you'll be responsible for murder.
Oh, come off it, Lowe. You're imagining things.
You know the Butcher threatened to kill me. You set me free, he'll do it.
Well, that's just a risk we'll have to take. But the way I look at it, Mr. Lowell, you'll be okay.
Look, Captain, I'll make a deal with you. You keep me here and I'll tell you how to recover the money. Maybe even catch the Butcher.
No deals, Lowell. You'd probably tell us anything just to stall for time. Come on, let's get out of here.
Now, wait a minute. All right. I'll tell you the truth. Start taking this down. I, Paul Lowe, hired Butcher Benton, Squeamy Ellis, and Joe Marcelli to pull off the armored car holdup.
And then Lowe continued with his confession. He told us about finding the map. He showed us the exact location of where the Butcher had hidden the stolen payroll. And he gave us a most important answer. The explanation as to how the Butcher was able to elude detection. His means of escape was the sewer system beneath our city. The The department went to work fast. Every police squad in the city was detailed to cover a specific area. Every entrance and exit to the Los Angeles city sewer system of 700 miles was covered. Captain Lauder and I, along with several other squads, headed for the entrance where, according to the map, Butcher had hidden the money. Our job was to stop him, and that made me think of one specific question. When we found him, could this monster be stopped? I, for one, wasn't sure.
Everything all set, Lieutenant?
City engineers mapped out each possible exit. The squad of officers are spotted at every point. If the Butcher can be caught, now's the time.
Well, after I talked to Caltech, I called on the fire department for a little help. The professors thought a flamethrower might stop him.
Flamethrower?
I suppose their boys have had a chance to join our squads by now. I see we have one with us here.
Have you thought about what'll happen if this doesn't work?
No. I've been praying too hard that it will work. This is where we split up. I'll go straight ahead.
If this map's right, we're off our course. We'll have to backtrack.
Let him have it.
And the tremendous shock of electricity that brought the butcher back to life destroyed him. The $600,000 stolen in the armored truck robbery has been recovered. Case closed. Well, here are the scientist's comments for your records. I had to fill in a few spots with my own guesses, but I guess that's about the size of it.
Did you get any sleep?
Oh, some. Not much.
How's the girl today?
Well, I called the hospital about an hour ago. She'd gone.
Gone? Where?
Well, she told him she was a working girl and that she'd been away from the job too long already.
Quite a girl.
Yeah. Say, how about that time off I've got coming?
48 hours, beginning right now. Get some rest, Dick.
You know something, Dick? The past 72 hours seem like a bad dream. That rest in the hospital today really gave me a new lease on life. Now that it's over, I can't believe it actually happened.
The important thing is to remember, it is all over.
I suppose you'll be assigned to another case. I'll have to give up hamburgers in the front seat of the car for steaks in a restaurant.
No. I've thought about that. In fact, I decided to do something about it. I started by talking the captain into a short holiday, and just about an hour ago, I got you fired.
What? What did you do that for?
I figured that being my wife would take up all of your time.
Even if I wanted to say no, I couldn't. You're not supposed to say no to a detective.
I figured that, too.
Thanks for watching the Baba Ghoulie Show by OTR Halloween Holidays. This is Waddle the Duck saying check out Channel Watch Waddle for some fun cartoons with no static.